Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is Chad here with BetHub.com, and some absolutely massive news has gone down in the NBA this evening as James Harden of the Oklahoma City Thunder has been dealt to the Houston Rockets, along with a few role players, Cole Aldrich, Daquan Cook, and Lazar Hayward. In return, the Thunder are getting from the Rockets Kevin Martin, Jeremy Lamb, and several draft picks for the next few years. And I know everybody is absolutely shocked to see an integral part of the Western Conference champion Oklahoma City Thunder, James Harden, depart. But you guys need to understand the reasoning behind this and the way General Manager Sam Presti was thinking with this decision here. He had a self-imposed team deadline to have him sign by Wednesday of next week, and he offered him a 4-year, $52 to $53 million extension, in which Harden declined. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, okay, fine, maybe he wants more money, maybe he wants max money, but why rush and get rid of him now when your team is not going to be as good as it was last year? And we've seen the way the Lakers have improved and the Clippers as well this offseason, and Oklahoma City Thunder needs James Harden just to even have a chance to get back to the finals. Well, wait. Let's just back this truck up a little bit and start to understand the brilliant thinking here of Mr. Presti, who took a team that had only won 18 to 20 games in Seattle and made them as good as they are right now. It's a little bit different having someone remain in the locker room refusing a contract of that nature. I really do believe it disrupts team chemistry, knowing that he would be a restricted free agent next year and an arbitrator was going to be giving him a lot of money. I think he made this decision now saying, you know what, you make the commitment to this team. If you want to stay here, you sign this contract. 4 years, $52 million, that is a tremendous amount of money. You're looking at about $13 million a year. Now, I'm not saying that James Harden might not be worth a little bit more on the open market, but the bottom line is if you want to commit to winning and stay with the teammates that you've developed with the last number of years, you can take a little bit of a pay cut. It's not the end of the world. Look at the other players on this organization that did the same thing. Kevin Durant, Westbrook, and Ibaka as well. All of them did not take maximum money, which they probably could have gone because they liked where they were playing and wanted to stay committed. In my opinion here, this is a little bit of greed on Harden's behalf. He wanted to go to Houston and get the max money that they're going to give him. We know that Houston's been extremely desperate the last number of years, wanting to bring in superstar players or hire more known players to their organization. They've thrown the book at guys like Williams, D12, even LeBron when he was a free agent that year. So they're willing to take anybody. We've seen the way they've overpaid for Jeremy Lin, so they'll have no problem giving him the max contract that he probably wants. So you know what I say? Let him walk. Take a hike. Because at the end of the day here, you got to have some balls as a GM and not let these players push you around. And what they got back in return isn't even all that bad to begin with. Because when you think of Kevin Martin, he's not even that much worse of a pure scorer than James Harden is. Sure, he's a little bit older. Sure, he's a little bit smaller, a bit more agile, goes down. You could argue he's a bit more selfish, doesn't necessarily have the team success. I will buy all that. But the guy can put the ball in the basket. It's no coincidence that a few years ago in Sacramento, he was averaging 25 points per game. And as long as he can accept a role knowing that it's not going to be him chucking up the ball 20 plus times a game and he can sort of fill the void that Harden left, he can be a very viable option and a good third scoring option for this Oklahoma City Thunder team. And it's not like his long-term risk with him here. He only has 1 year left on his contract, and if they don't like the way things are going, adios, wave, goodbye, you're out of there, Martin. Because I think one of the key players in this trade here is getting back Jeremy Lamb, the guy that was drafted from Connecticut. We saw what he did a couple years ago with Connecticut, leading them to a championship on a team that really wasn't all that good. Him being the clutch scorer along with Kemba Walker in that backcourt. He can maybe develop into what Harden was able to do for this team. Harden was drafted 3rd overall. Think about how long it took for him to develop to become a half-decent player like he's been in the last few years. And I don't mean to insult him by saying half-decent. He's good, don't get me wrong. But he is far from a superstar. You can't build a franchise around James Harden. There's a reason why he was coming off the bench, and he wasn't someone that you could say, you know what, we're going to give him max money, and we're going to build the team around him. He's more of a supplementary player, a second or third scoring option. So that's why I see no problem with getting rid of him, because you're not losing Durant or Westbrook in this deal here. And furthermore, when you look at Jeremy Lamb, there's a good chance that he could develop into what Harden did or come near close to it. And if that doesn't work out, the combination of him and Martin this year, they have all those draft picks as well. I'm very confident in what Sam Presti's doing and what Scott Brooks is doing as a coach, and they will be able to refine a replacement. It is not the end of the world losing James Harden like some people are making it out to be. This is still a very good basketball team. They might be slightly worse than they were last year. I don't think they're going to have that much of a drop-off like some people are starting to believe. And from Houston's perspective, I really don't see much of a change with their team. Are they really going to be all that much better with Harden? They lost Kyle Lowry, their point guard, in the offseason. And they don't have Kevin Martin, and I think Harden's not that much better than him. This is barely a playoff team, if that. And they're just doing it here, like I said, to bring in a top name and a bit of a more of an upgrade in talent. You can't deny that. And he can go there, he can get his max money, he doesn't have to pay the taxes. And the only thing that I would support Harden here, maybe the reason why I didn't sign with Oklahoma, is he wants to be more of the guy. He wants to prove that maybe he is someone that's capable of leading a franchise and taking on his own back. Personally, I don't think he's capable of, but you can never fault a man for wanting to do that in their NBA career. So I will refrain from ripping Harden too hard from that perspective. And just to wrap up everything here, my sort of thoughts on the NBA landscape and the way it is right now just really proves that some of these smaller market teams are always up against it. The Thunder are an absolute anomaly in terms of a team that can survive in a small market and actually contend for NBA championships. Maybe you can say Indiana's another team along those lines right now. But the bottom line here is the major markets, the big cities, and the more old school teams that have the brand recognition are always going to be the ones that have a massive advantage. LA, Boston, Chicago, New York, Brooklyn, Miami, Dallas, because of the fact that they will pay maximum contracts to as many players as they need to in order to keep them intact. They will pay the luxury tax. That is something that Oklahoma City cannot do. There's a reason why the other core players couldn't take max contracts, because they simply cannot afford them there. So once again, it just proves how much harder it is for these teams to contend for championships, because they can't keep the core intact as easy as some of the other organizations do. And you just look at the NBA, we know the regular season's an absolute waste of a time, because there's really usually at the end of the year 4 or 5 teams max that can contend for the championship. And the first round of the playoffs is usually an absolute bore. It doesn't start to get good until the second round. You do not see that at all in the other sports. The NFL, 20 teams are a game or over 500 right now and have a chance to make the playoffs. There's 8 or 10 teams that are Super Bowl contenders. Baseball, we see how wacky it is every year. Just get into the playoffs. It always comes down to the final day of the regular season with the wild cards. Hockey is completely absurd. You have 7 and 8 seeds routinely getting to the Stanley Cup and having chances to win. The Kings did last year. So that's why I think the NBA as a sport and a league really struggles to grasp bringing in the average casual sports fan, because they're sick and tired of that model. And the average sports fans likes parity. They like to see a bit of change and mix-up instead of just domination from 5 or 6 teams. Now, I'm a diehard basketball fan, and I'll watch it no matter what. But I would prefer to see it more along those lines, because it does truly provide better overall entertainment value. Now, speaking of entertainment value, that's exactly what we're going to get here when the season does start on Tuesday, and I'm extremely excited for it. You guys can have an opportunity to get in on the action as well. Just check out the link below, bethub.com. Go there right now, sign up for your own account, and cash in on some of the outstanding bonuses we have going on right now for first-time account users. And if you already have accounts, there's some reload bonuses going on as well right now. You can set your own lines, you can challenge your friends, you can bet small amounts, large amounts, whatever keeps you happy and intrigued in these basketball games. Because I sure know that I'm going to be going nuts during the basketball year, and I already have one game circled. I love the Celtics as an underdog against Miami in the first game of the year. So make sure to check out bethub.com and get involved with some of your wagers, and you guys can see what I'm posting up there as well. That's a wrap for my thoughts on the James Harden to the Houston Rockets trade that just went blockbuster and final this evening.